Aloha, everybody. This is Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks, episode 82 on YouTube. I'd also like to thank, with the help of Zoom, to make this video, but you guys are in a treat. I will be talking about a crowd work comedy show, Elbow Grease, from the Mic Drop. I'll be also talking about Brittany Schmidt, the Mic Drop, Ogata at the Madhouse, and maybe a little something from the open mic at the Madhouse. So those four parts. So let's get into it. So on episode 82, I went to a show called Elbow Grease. It's a crowd work show at the Mic Drop Comedy Club in Claremont Mesa Boulevard, hosted by Mikey Perry, a friend of mine, great comic. Great guy behind the sound, great guy to run things at the Mic Drop, great at producing shows, good collaborator. What I can tell, good quality shows coming from him. So I actually like it when Mikey is around. So, since this was a crowd work show, and I got to sit in, I was actually pretty, I guess you could say, kind of close to the front, but I'm more to the side of the gold room. And I first sat by myself, then the wait staff had three blonde women kind of sat with me, very pleasant people. I think one of them was named Becca, and the other two, I probably don't remember their names, but it's okay. So Mikey started off the show as the host, and he did a little bit of crowd work. He got to know people in the crowd, and kind of establish who are the couples out there. Technically, he didn't really do any of his original material, so since it was all crowd work, he was working with whatever was given to him by the audience, going back and forth, which is awesome. I would say it's crowd work for the purpose of crowd work of this comedy show. I would say it was about a good 8 out of 10. You got some good feedback, and we just work with whatever you have. And then next came up, or I think who was also on the lineup too, was Camille Waters, and she didn't do any original material as well. And I like that, since it wasn't really her original material, and she just worked with whatever the crowd gave her. She did really great work interacting with people, just asking questions, and worked on that. So I'll say Camille Waters' crowd work was probably an 8.3 out of 10. Mikey actually acknowledged me, and so did Camille. It was great getting praised by the comics during the show. Mikey almost got me to do a Magic Mike type stripped down, and he was willing to play some music for me, since all I said was I'll strip down in the gold room for this crowd show if the right song was being played. So very close, very close. I mean, I could have been in the mood to do that, right? But I don't know if I had the body of a stripper, or the guys from Thunder from Down Under. So, so yeah, Camille kind of also kind of acknowledged me too. That's great. I also got to see Tone Mac. So technically, he didn't really do any material, but then again, I'd never seen him before. So I guess I can get a preview of what he's like on the mic in front of the stage. So, and he had some decent crowd work, but it wasn't given a lot of material to work with. So overall, I would probably say it was probably like a 7.8 out of 10. I'm pretty sure I could have gone any better, and I think he also acknowledged me too, and I could just kind of interact with them, which is always awesome. Yeah, 7.8 seems right about his crowd work. I think with a different crowd, he probably would have had a better time, but you only work with what you got, right? So, and then you also got Short Jake on the card. Um, cool guy. Didn't have to play any music since it's basically crowd work. He was basically work with the crowd too, but um, I also kind of got knowledge by Jake as well, I think. And you know, good time, good set. I don't remember much about his crowd work, so I'm probably gonna say maybe 7.5 out of 10. Um, and then we got Chris Espinosa. He was an interesting one for crowd work because he told everybody he found something in the green room at the mic drop, and it was a whip. And he did address the couple that was in the front row. Apparently, the couple in the front row were two dancers, and apparently, the guy, I think he was a dancer on the reality show Finding Magic Mike, and you know that's the reality show where they try to find the next, you know, the next great stripper, male stripper, I guess. And if you did ever watch Magic Mike the movies, you'll see why. Um, I guess he didn't win the show or something. I guess he got eliminated at some point, but he managed to, see his girlfriend, or I guess, yeah, I think his girlfriend. I don't think they're married, but you never know. Sometimes you don't tell the whole story, but I guess that was his girlfriend, and said that his girl was the freaky one, and so that kind of like led to the whole whip thing because Chris Espinosa has a whip, and the girl at my table who sat across from me, she admitted that she liked being whipped, but she didn't like holding the whip. So that was interesting to hear. Again, I have an interesting table, and of course, every single comic had asked, "How did I get three blondes at my table?" So they just said, "I have a very good personality." So, uh, but yeah, they all admit that I'm their friend, so that's kind of cool. Uh, and So the male dancer that was in the front row, he volunteered to hold the whip on Chris Espinosa, and Chris Espinosa, asked to be whipped a little bit. And the guy in front row did it like more than two, three times. And then Chris Espinosa said like, hey, 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 don't get carried away. One is for the joke and one, for the crowd, but don't get too quick carried away. The moment has already passed. And then everybody laughed at that. So I actually thought that kind of crowd work was probably decent, 8.5 out of 10. The fact that you got a lot of laughter off of that. So um, another guy on the lineup was Chris Myers, my first time seeing him. Um, he actually is friends with the couple that was in the front row, both the dancers. Um, his crowd work was all right. So I guess he's only really familiar with the people in the front row, the couple, because they're friends. But other than that, he said, you know, Chuck Myers also asked me how I got women at my table. So, uh, but that was kind of fun interacting myself. So I would say, his was like a 7.7 out of 10. Didn't have too much. I don't remember too much about his crowd work other than interacting with his friend and plus interacting with me. So, and then the last guy to go up, I don't know if you consider Andrew Park Davis as the headliner, but he was the last one to go up, so technically I guess he is. So his card work, he always carried those index cards with him. Interesting part about this, his set with the crowd work was that he was trying to get to know the European table that was in the middle of the room, and I guess based off of one of the comics head count was that there was 28 people in the crowd. And I guess that kind of made sense. Um, so apparently Andrew Parker Davis was kind of making fun of the haircut of the two young girls in the European table, and apparently the whole table are all like trained nannies, and two of them are like the the head nanny and they outsource out to these young nannies. So apparently, two of the girls, European girls, I guess they're from different countries or something, and Andrew Parker Davis managed to kind of make fun of the haircut in some shape, way, or form. The girl next to me, named Becca, she took exception to it. You know, I want to let you guys know, Becca did say that she takes Molly, and that's the only way she can talk to people, which I find it interesting. Um, but she pretty much opened up and started to retort Andrew Parker Davis, saying like, "Why are you wearing a hat inside at night? It looks ridiculous." And then, as a way to kind of defend the honor of the two girls with the haircuts. And so Andrew Parker Davis kind of had to half-heartedly kind of apologize to the girls with the haircuts. And then after his set was over, Becca had apologized for saying so much stuff to Andrew Parker Davis for making him feel bad. I guess in the sense of how well he did the crowd work versus the reaction he got from the crowd work, because he actually did interaction. So I would say it's safe to say that he probably had a good 8.2 for making people laugh and react and or um, uh, I guess react in a very aggressive, angered, mad way. So I thought that was kind of funny, and you know, but yeah, that was the entire crowd work show, Elbow Grease. I would say it was a decent show. I mean, it could have been a little better if the crowd had something more to give to the comics, but at the same time, the comics can only work with what they get, so they can only grade off of based off of that. Um, so who knows? I might go again. Um, Now, I did go to another show on Friday night at the Mic Drop. It was for Brittany Schmidt. I've only seen her on Don't Tell Comedy, and I'm glad I got to go see her. She was nice. For most of the time I've met her. Um, and she had a host. I think her name was Heather Pasternak. I actually didn't get to see her because I came late. And I thought I came on time. Then I realized the time for the show was actually 7 o'clock. For some strange reason, up to that point, I actually thought the show was at 7:30. So when I showed up, I actually showed up in the middle of Mateen Stewart's set. So I didn't even know that Heather Pasternak had actually gone up. So that's my fault. And so I can't really talk much about Heather's her comedy set because I didn't get to see it at all. So I'm assuming that Heather Pasternak introduced everybody. She's the host, and she went and did her set, and then introduced probably Mateen Stewart at some point, and then they came in. But Mateen Stewart's comedy was pretty cool. He talked about how, um, if you give everybody a gun, that would make people kind of, uh, you know, do something, take initiative about stuff. Caramel macchiato from Starbucks. Um, so yeah, uh, so as he talked about guns, and how he said that when some black men buy guns and then join the NRA, um, he mentioned how there is a group that I don't know if it's like a branch of the NRA, which is like basically black people, but they own guns. Is basically, uh, I guess it's what's it called? The NAGA or the um, yeah, NA is it N-G-N-A-G-R-A? So it's, I guess it's pronounced as Nagar. So I laughed and the whole crowd laughed based on how it sounds and how he's made it sound. So Mateen Stewart, that's a great bit to use. He made everybody laugh. Um, I have I gave you a score of 8.7 for that comedy set on Friday night. And I actually got to meet Mateen Stewart after. Got to talk to him for a little bit, got a picture with him. Cool guy. And then we got a headliner, Brittany Schmidt. And I waited a while to see Brittany Schmidt because I thought she'd be up in LA, but she came to San Diego. Um, I guess most of it was supposed to be new material, although I did hear some half of her set seemed to be about old jokes that I've already seen. One about if abortion is murder, then miscarriage is suicide. So I think she said that she wanted to retire that joke, but she's not. I actually thought that was kind of funny because it's actually kind of true if you think about it. So we have to think deeper about the joke and how they came to that, point of the joke being made. You actually get it and you kind of appreciate it. So she did start off by saying, "Don't be offended. They're all jokes." So I guess you should kind of do that disclaimer unless you kind of assume that going in and you try not to be offended. So trying to have thick skin. She did mention she had a joke about how she took cocaine and then she went to get her nails done. She didn't dress up or anything, and she went to the nail salon and she had an itchy nose, so she went to itch her nose, but she sneezed. And because she sneezed, well, she said that when she sneezed after taking cocaine and gone to the nail salon, at the nail salon when she sneezed, she had crapped herself. Yikes. So she said that she must have, I don't know, drove or walked to the salon and had to go back home by walking or driving or something. So she kind of like acted out how she walked back home and acted how she got to the car, you know, kind of like walking slowly, knowing that you had just grabbed her sale. So it's brave to admit stuff like that. But yeah, it made people laugh. And then I guess she had some jokes about how she dated guys on the Marquette college basketball team, and one of them was Jimmy Butler. So she did admit that she used to go out with Jimmy Butler. And so she had some fun ones about that, and trying to remember if that was a new joke. That might have been. But yeah, so it's kind of cool seeing her from Don't Tell Comedy on the YouTube channel and then like seeing her live. So I would say it was a good set. Um, it got a lot of laughter. Um, maybe not the entire room, but it got most of the room laughing. So based off of this comedy set that she did at the Mic Drop Friday night, I would give Brittany Schmidt an 8.75. And afterwards, I got to talk to her, got a picture with her. She is really nice, but I could also tell that she seemed to be a little frustrated. And I guess it had to deal with like the merchandise, whether it got bought or not, how it was displayed. I actually had some suggestions, and some of the inventory should be at the front and also by the exit. So they have, two ways of kind of like seeing the merchandise for Mateen Stewart, for Heather Pasternak, and for Brittany Schmidt. So And I think Heather mentioned something that they need someone who looks like Brittany out in the front, and I told them I would volunteer to wear a wig, a blonde wig, and act like I'm Brittany Schmidt. So maybe one of them or two of them kind of smirked, but trying to make light of everything, lighten up the mood. But I can kind of tell that Brittany Schmidt seemed that she was very worried and she was kind of frustrated. So you know, I mean, it is what it is. But she was nice enough to take pictures and talk for a little bit, and I got to talk to her for a little bit. So you know, um, I do what I can, and I gotta take the initiative to kind of talk to them when I have access to them and use make good use of my little time with them. So do my best. And of course, if you guys would listen to this and you're a comic, you know that I will stay back. I don't leave early, and I will, try to talk to you and get a picture with you, and I'll post it. I'll tag you, promote your show, and on my own Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and do my part on the helping with the exposure. So, and of course, talking on this podcast. So, yeah. So, so after this show, I ended up going to the Madhouse because I wanted to go see Paul Ogata. Great guy. I saw him one time before at the Mic Drop. It was kind of a dark comedy show, I think it was. He mentioned how the backdrop of the Golden Room reminded him of like either a rapper's music video and how it was back then, plus the fact that um, there are certain credit cards. I think you mentioned like the MasterCard, how sometimes the MasterCard has like that gold um, backdrop, and you know it kind of reminds him of being inside a credit card or something, or yeah, something like that. But I think there's a music video reference to it where how the backdrop looks like, you know, how the backdrop is. And because I mentioned that, I am wearing the shirt that looks like the backdrop of the coat room at Mic Drop. So, anywho, so the person that hosted the show for Paul Ogata at the Madhouse was Jacob Johnstone. Good friend of mine, cool guy. Uh, he did some crowd work. He did maybe a joke about dating older women and would it be okay, if the women paid for everything most of the time. I think that was his crowd work moment. Um, but I think the crowd at 10 p.m. was a little more chilled, maybe a little tougher to please. So apparently it seemed like I had to give him a 7.5 for his comedy to open up the lineup as the host. First time seeing this guy, Shane Bianchi. Um, Guy was pretty. Uh, he got some laughs. I guess the crowd couldn't get really into it. It might have started slow, and it didn't really get any higher than that. So I would say he kind of like, for me, it kind of stayed around the rating of like a 7.1. Next up was Dante Cordova. Second time seeing the guy. Talked about I guess you could saw his bangs. Um, Actually, before I came into the madhouse, I actually saw him and his girlfriend. So, but he talked about sex and his ex-girlfriends and stuff, and he did mention how the crowd was a little too mellow for his set. So apparently they get too much into his, set too much, but he kind of picked up a little bit. Um, I would say his set was probably 8.3 out of 10. Next up was Alex Peregrina. Um, I think I've seen him before actually. So it's probably the second time I've seen him. And it's most likely at the madhouse anyway. Um, he had some good jokes. got the crowd going for a little while, but it was like in parts, not all at the same time. But he had a joke, and people were laughing like almost every couple minutes or so, so that's good. But it just wasn't like everybody, and I think he had a little bit of crowd work. But other than that, I felt like his set was an 8.3 out of 10. Next up was a guy named Ryan Neeson. First time seeing the guy. He got some laughs in his set too, but it wasn't like a lot of the crowd was into it. It was probably in parts, and he was getting jokes every couple minutes, but nothing too special. I would say his set was 8.1 out of 10. And I got to see for the first time Royce Moore. Um, Guy's a cool guy. I got to meet him after the show. He has some funny jokes, and he got the crowd laughing. Also, most of the crowd every 3 to 5 minutes, maybe. But other than that, I would say 8.4 out of 10. And then you got your headliner, Paul Ogata. My second time seeing the guy. And um, does great crowd work. And I would say um, a lot of funny jokes mixed into. And but overall, I would say his crowd work is basically his bread and butter. Um, and it's weird because Paul told me that he didn't feel like he did great, but I think the crowd did a good bit of laughing for most of his set. So I would say it was 8.7 out of 10. There's one funny part I remembered was he got the tall guy in the front row to stand up, and because Asian people tend to be very small, short, the fact that the platform that the comics stand on is like 4 feet tall, and to add Paul's height, and for the tall guy in the front row to stand up, the guy stood up. He said he was 6'8", and made it seem like, well, with this tall guy standing straight up in the front row, and then you add the height of the platform to the height of Paul Ogata, they're about the same height. So people laughed at that, and I think that's kind of one of the things I remembered about Paul Ogata's set. So, and honestly, I don't know that if there any part of his set this time was anything he had used the last time I saw him. So it might have been all new material. But then again, crowd work is always improv. You work with whatever you got, whatever is thrown your way. So, but yeah, Paul Ogata's comedy set Friday night at the Madhouse, 8.7. Now, I did get to uh, hang out for the open mic, and I kind of stayed for the whole thing. Some people, they were okay. Some were kind of good. I got to see a few of the who's who, people I knew, people who knew me. I got to see for the first time Sarah R.W., just one half of two Jews, one gay, with Samantha Schwimmer. She has some good material. She really worked on the whole kind of a sex trafficking. Um, that was kind of like thing she's working on. I did get to see Veronica Gordon. She's working on some new stuff too. I don't think what she had worked on for those 3 minutes was what I heard before. I think she's trying new material. Also got to see Mike Mancilis. I think there's Michael Red. Did see Fed one, Somo. Got to see Carlos Figueroa, Ben Keltner, Billy Orm, Aaron, Tehran, Taryn Heffley, Mimi Estrella, but I think she used the name Barbara. Of course, Kelly Troop. I think she was using new material too. And apparently she had mentioned Britney Spears, and oops, I did it again. Um, so, and then there's Remy Perez, and I think there's a Frankie Gonzalez. I actually got to talk to him for a little bit, even though technically we have not met yet, but I think we kind of know about each other. So, yeah. Now, the interesting part about this open mic is that I learned something new actually. So apparently, um, there's a guy who went up. He said he was a bartender, and this is something he just found out recently, or as he was working as a bartender, that there is a drink that a woman can order called the Angel Shot, and women know about this particular drink being ordered because the only ingredient in this shot, and the only ingredient in this drink is danger. And this is supposed to be the SOS call from the girl to the bartender to let the bartender know that she's in some kind of trouble with the person that she's with. So that's cool to know, and that's good for women to have and bartenders to know. And sometimes being at bars can be um, not always safe and fun. Sometimes can go a little overboard, especially if one is being a little overly aggressive. And so, that's kind of good to know. But yeah, I'll be back at the Madhouse again on Friday. I'm going to be seeing Gabby Lamb, and I'll be seeing her for the first time. Hopefully, it's a good show. I'm also going to a show on Wednesday at the Mic Drop. It's Out of This World, hosted by Sarah Hirschberger. She has a great lineup and has a lot of alien themes to it, outer space theme. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it's a good show. I think Nick BK is going to be on it, and I think Veronica Gordon and Camille Waters. So it should be a good show. Can't wait to see it myself. Um, and then Thursday, I am going to Adams Avenue for the Abnormal Heights comedy show. It's a secret lineup apparently, so I can't wait to see how that one's going to turn out. And I think Alex Petit is part of it, so it's a good time. And then Friday, like I said, I'm going to the Madhouse to see Gabby Lamb. And then Saturday night, I'll be seeing Rachel Sterling at her Heavy Hitter show. Can't wait to see her and how her show is going to be. Should be fun. That's a mic drop. So who knows? I might get a surprise from Rachel Sterling. So cross my fingers. So other than that, I know this episode is about all comedy shows and stuff, and I want to get that off my chest. But I just wanted to mention that the Lakers beat the Memphis Grizzlies 111-101. I watched the game 3 at Tavern at the Beach in Pacific Beach. Nice place, great staff. Thanks for the great service, Chelsea. If you ever watch fights there, because I was also there to watch the fights too. I also happened to watch the Padres beat the Diamondbacks 5-3, who Padres just beat them again today, 7-5. Apparently, if you go watch the fights, because I was there to watch Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, it's a $5 cover to start off, and then it will increase as the night goes along to like 10, $20 or something. So it's a good thing I got in like at 5 something. So for me, it was $5. Um, and I got to watch Tank Davis win with a 7th round KO, a liver shot to the left side of Ryan Garcia's body. Tank Davis wins by KO. And I guess they buried the hatchet. So good fight. and a good Lakers win, and a good Padres win. So a good night for me at the tavern at the beach. So um, tonight is game 4 of the LA Kings and Edmonton Oilers game series. Uh, Kings are up 2-1. They won game 3 last time in overtime. So you can tell that this series is very contentious, and Kings and Oilers are going to be playing down to the wire almost every single game. Hopefully, the Kings come out of it because I want the LA Kings to keep moving on. Um, I'll let you guys more know in the next episode. I talk more about sports and what happened. And one last thing, Sergey Pavlovich defeated Curtis Blaydes in 3 minutes 8 seconds in the first round. TKO by punches. So I called it. Not only did I call Tank Davis to win by KO over Ryan Garcia, but I also called a Pavlovich TKO of Curtis Blaydes. So feeling lucky, feeling good sports wise this week. So yeah, so I'll talk more on my next episode 83, is it? So tune into that, and I will talk to you guys more about sports and comedy and food. All right, guys, this is Tiggy Maximus signing off. Have a good weekend. Have some good food. Have some good company, and watch some great action. And I will talk to you guys later. Booyah!